Okay, I know that everybody thinks that they've had the worst roommate ever, but like, I truly, 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 truly promise you, I have had the worst roommate on the entire planet. This is like a 4-year story, so it might be a couple parts. Bear with me, I swear I will make it as short as possible. So I'm hanging out with this group of like fraternity guys, and one of them is dating this girl, and they end up like breaking up. It was a super nasty breakup. She gets blacklisted. Everybody's like, she's absolutely crazy. Who cares? I don't know this girl, but I do know her name. So like a year later, I'm really desperate to move out of my parents' house. I'm on Facebook looking up places to live. I find this place. I don't recognize the girl. I'm like, okay, whatever. I've lived with strangers before. No big deal. So I go over there to look up. Guess who opens the door? Crazy ex-girlfriend. I'm like, that's weird. Like she was under a different name, but like maybe she changed her name. I don't know. So I'm talking to her. She seems normal. The apartment is nice. The room's really cheap. She tells me that she's married now. She got married to this guy within 5 months. They were dating for 5 months and got married. I'm like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I'll live with a couple if it's cheap rent. So I move in. Everything's dandy. Like a month after I moved in, she's all of a sudden telling me that her and her husband are getting divorced now, or getting it annulled because they haven't even been married long enough for it to count. And then she's telling me about how he's like crazy and abusive and is trying to break into our apartment, so she has to change all the locks. And I've met this guy, and like he seemed totally normal, but like obviously you don't know with guys, so I'm gonna believe the girl in this situation. She's my roommate. So far she has a totally different name. She married a guy after 5 months, and now they're getting divorced a month after I move in, and she's saying that he's crazy and abusive. So crazy guy disappears out of our lives. It's just me and the 2 other girls in the apartment for like a year, and honestly everything was chill. Like I would catch this girl lying about the weirdest things. Like she would tell everybody that she couldn't drink because she was anemic and it made her really sick, but yet I would literally sit and watch her drink alcohol all the time, and like things would be moved around in my bedroom, but like I didn't really care. And there's so much more weird stuff this girl did that I just can't remember at all. But then crazy girl decides she's gonna get 2 cats, and these cats are like abused like completely in our apartment. Like she never spends time with them. Their litter boxes are never clean. Our apartment starts to stink so bad because like they're peeing and pooping everywhere. They're throwing up all over the place. They have goop coming out of their eyes, and I keep telling her like, Riley, it stinks in here. It really stinks in here. Like, could you do something about it? And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll fix it. It never does anything to fix it. The smell got to be so bad that I literally had to move my clothes and everything to my boyfriend's house. I had to do all of my laundry there. I had to change there because like my clothes just smelled like pure cat pee and poop. Like everybody was telling me that. It was so embarrassing. My boyfriend could not come and visit me because he would literally open the door to my apartment and start vomiting like over the stairwell next to my door. Then I go through like this whole 2-week mental breakdown where like I should have been in a psych ward, honestly. And I was like, I can't live this like anymore. Like I have to leave. So me and the other girl that were living there were like, we have to go. Like we found better places to live. We never told her it was because of her stinky cats. We were very nice about it and just said we found a better place to go. We do all the paperwork to get off the lease. Not 1 time, but 2 times did we do the paperwork to get off the lease. So I think I'm off the lease. I guess I'll do a part 2 if this gets any views.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing different creators sharing their experience about roommates. I have just experience with my own family, or actually being a landlord. I haven't have experience with actually sharing my personal space with strangers. So guys, let me know, what are your views, what are your opinions after watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video.
Are all the unspoken rules of having a roommate? First one, obviously, this is just a no-brainer. The fact that people do this is crazy, but do not let people go on your roommate's bed when they're not home. I have heard stories of like one time my friend came back to her room and her roommate's friend was literally sitting in her bed eating chips, leaving like crumbs everywhere. That is disgusting. You should not even have to tell a person that like your bed is your space and you don't want their like random friends you don't know sitting in it. That's just disgusting and a no-brainer. Next thing, every shared space you have, like, keep it clean. If you're sharing a mini fridge and you have things that are expired, please take them and throw them out before they stink up the entire room. Or if you share a bathroom, I don't know why people have this issue, flush the toilet. How old are you? Like, you really need to be flushing the toilet. Like, that's disgusting. If there's just any little shared spaces that you guys have, it should be a no-brainer that if you have stuff in there or doing things, like, please just keep it clean for the sake of the other person using it. Another thing, this one's definitely more of an unspoken rule for sure, but I would say try to, not hog the room. Yes, it's your space and everything, but it can be really frustrating when you have a roommate who sits in there all day, every day, and you just never really have any alone time in your own bedroom. I feel like that's really important, is just every once in a while, like, get up, leave the room for a little bit, just go get food, do something, just so that other person can have a little bit of time, like, to enjoy the room to themselves. please ask your roommates to borrow things before you just go ahead and do it. Me and my roommate have been living together for almost 2 years now, and we're good friends, and she'll still ask me, hey, can I borrow your top? Hey, can I borrow your eyelash curler? If I want her hair gel, I'll ask her for it. When I was literally home in New Jersey, 6 hours away, she fully still texted me, hey, is it okay for me to borrow your outfit? And I wouldn't even be mad if she had done it without asking, but it's just like the principle of being like, hey, is this fine? The last thing is just try to be respectful when you're on the phone. There are definitely some of us out there who love taking FaceTime calls like well into the night, talking with our friends, and that's totally okay, but just be respectful about it. If you're on the phone at 1 a.m., like, please be quiet enough that you're not waking up your roommate. And like, I feel like people should be able to just gauge, okay, my light just went out, but I feel like people should be able to gauge, you know, what is appropriate and what's not. So overall, just use your better judgment and just try to be respectful about taking phone calls for hours and being super long about it.
Since everybody is so invested in my really gross roommate, I'm going to share some old pictures and videos that I have to explain. Okay, this video was taken a few months back. She uses grocery bags as a trash can because she does not have one. After about a month of living together, we decided we would not be sharing kitchen utensils, obviously. And yeah, so all of this is hers, and it was also sent to the landlord, and he quite literally did not care that the kitchen looked this way. Okay, this is her coffee maker. She uses this every day. If you look close enough, there is a gnat right here, along with dead gnats and alive gnats swimming in her coffee. So yeah, I have way more videos and pictures than that. If you want more, let me know.
Is anyone else a homebody but has lived with a roommate that has made your home the most unwelcoming, toxic, vile, unsettling environment of your life? Because last time I checked, I live here. Like, my name is very much on the lease. But yeah, every time I walk out of my room and run into my roommate and her boyfriend, I feel like I'm a waiter going up to them to take their order, except I came in at the wrong time and it just goes silent. Actually, worse. It's like I'm a stranger who walked into the wrong apartment and they're ready to call the cops as soon as possible. And there's only 2 of us on the lease, and it's not him. And I'm not saying that people can't have their significant others over. I'm just saying if they're gonna be here for 2 weeks straight, maybe you guys should do the dishes or take out the trash, or maybe just even say hi. Because I'll say good morning and she'll just walk straight past me. But you know, maybe it's my fault because I probably pissed her off when I told her that maybe moving in with her boyfriend once our lease is up isn't gonna solve all the relationship problems she was telling me about. But you know, what do I know? I was just there for like 3 iterations of boyfriends.
The absolute worst experience of my life was when I was newly married, maybe 2 weeks, living with my in-laws, and I had to call my dad in the dead of the night because I clogged the toilet, and there was no way in hell I was letting my father-in-law try to fix that. Also because I clogged it with feminine products. Listen, I know, okay? I know you're not supposed to flush them down, but I did. I was young. I was mortified when I went to go flush the toilet and the water started to rise up and nothing was going down. My husband, I don't know if you know, he is not a handyman. This man hasn't fixed a thing a day in his life, okay? So I had to call my dad, panicked. My dad, he understood the assignment. He came in with his whole toolbox from the side door, the outside door, making sure to be extra quiet so that nobody in the house upstairs, including my in-laws, knew that my dad was over trying to fix this toilet. But when I tell you my dad had to remove the entire toilet from its base and carry this toilet outside in pitch darkness, well, you can imagine that my father-in-law woke up and came downstairs. Now I've got myself, my father-in-law, my father, and my husband standing outside in the darkness with a tiny little flashlight and a toilet on the floor that's clogged, and I can see what I've clogged it with. And I know my dad can see too, because he looked at me and he's like, you might want to clear that. This was the worst case scenario possible. And then for me to be newlywed, and then my father-in-law, bless his heart, was like, Neely, why didn't you just tell me? Why'd you tell your father and bother him so he had to come all the way here to fix the toilet? I could have fixed it. And I said, Dad, no, thank you. This is not how I wanted to, this is not how I wanted to break the ice as a newly married daughter-in-law living in your house, okay? I wanted to dig a hole and bury myself. Absolute most embarrassing moment of my life. 10 out of 10, do not recommend. Listen to the packaging that says, do not flush feminine products down the toilet, okay? Okay.
Biggest fight. So I got into literally, I think the biggest fight I've ever gotten into with my roommate last night. And I don't know if you can tell by these awful dark circles and under eye bags, but I literally got no sleep. And honestly, I want to talk about it because number one, I'm still so hurt and angry and upset that I just need to get it out. And also some of you might relate to having an awful roommate situation. And she's blocked on everything, by the way, so she's not going to see this. But my roommate, my girl roommate, I live with a couple, so her and her boyfriend, she is quite literally one of the most disrespectful and inconsiderate people I think I've ever met in my life. We have had problems in the past, but I have always obviously wanted a very peaceful and livable household. So when we have had issues in the past, we've been able to sit down and have been like, look, you know, this is what happened and this is kind of like how it made me feel. Like, let's figure this out, basically. I don't want to live in a hostile environment and I need fucking peace in my life. And I've just come to realize that this person is so deeply inconsiderate and probably so deeply miserable in her own existence as a human being that she can't live peacefully and she can't approach issues peacefully. Regardless of who it is that you live with, no two people are the same, okay? So you're gonna have different ways of living and things are just gonna come up in a roommate situation. And the way you communicate when these problems come up and the way you handle it says everything. Anyway, so I'm at work and she starts blowing up my fucking phone over an issue that could have been resolved had we had an in-person conversation and sat down. But instead she literally fucking attacked me and said I've never been spoken to this way. Like the most disgusting, foul ass fucking language. My best friend and I have been friends for 8 years. We lived together previously for 3 years. We've gotten into some fights, okay? In any friendship, you're gonna have a fight. My best friend and I have never ever once spoken to each other this way or ever even remotely got as close to being as disrespectful as the way this bitch talked to me last night. When we all moved in together, we had the agreement that we were not going to do the like splitting food thing. Like, this is your food, this is my food. Basically, the agreement that we came to is if you ate something and you finish the last of it, you replace it, right? Understandable. And it's been this way for the last 6 months since we've all lived together. And so I ate and finished off the last of one of her snacks, reordered it. Literally, it arrived yesterday. And in this argument, this bitch had the audacity to say to me, you wouldn't have eaten all my food if you didn't have a raging eating disorder. Girl, what the fuck? Literally, who talks to somebody like who says something like that to a person? Especially when when we've had conversations at length about my history of disordered eating. Also, I don't know if you can hear their dog screaming his head off in the back, but every time they leave him, their dog does this and howls for hours and barks his head off. Anyway, what transpired after this conversation was basically the both of them trying to essentially intimidate me and bully me out of moving out of my own fucking house, which is not gonna happen, okay? Paid a fat ass deposit to move into this beautiful big home. And now she wants to like act like a fucking victim. And she's like, oh, we're being, now we have to live together against our own will. She wants to act like a victim in a problem she created. And the situation has me so upset and so angry. But I've also realized, how sad for her. Like how sad that a grown-ass fucking adult has, number one, 0 communication skills, 0 conflict resolution skills, and is so deeply heinous and foul and just an outright fucking mean girl. Like, you're a mean girl at 27? Gross. And I deeply believe that people like this and who she is her own karma. And it sucks that I have to live with this evil bitch for 6 more months, but it is what it is.
Hates doing this, but please have a talk with your roommate. And this goes for dorms and apartments. When y'all have this talk, you have to be as brutally honest as possible. This is coming from somebody that had a bad freshman year roommate. Trust me, it was not pretty. And honestly, looking back at it, if me and her had been honest when we had our conversations about what we like, what we don't like, the type of people we are in our rooms, half of the things that happened would not have happened. So please, when you are finding your roommate or you are having that talk with your future roommate or roommates, be very honest about how you actually are in your living space. Because at the end of the day, they are going to see it one way or another. And I would rather know the type of person you are beforehand than having to figure it out in the middle of the freaking semester and I'm stuck living with you because you are a whole different person than you actually say you are. If you like going out, that's okay. Just don't tell your roommate that you go to bed at 8 p.m. Whole time you're not in bed until 3 a.m. If you are a little bit messy, that is okay. Let your roommate know beforehand. Also, don't be afraid of confrontation. One thing about me, I hate a confrontation. That is how problems fester and sit until it's your final straw, and then it's a big situation. If there is something that you don't like at that moment, let them know. Let them know. But yeah, just be honest with your roommate. They're going to be living with you for an entire school year. Y'all are going to get real close or real separate. It don't matter. Just let them know the type of person you are, honestly. That's all I have to say for this video. Y'all stay safe. Bye.
Oh, Dynasty, you left that in the sink. Are you gonna grab it?
So that one's soaking, and then in the morning I'll get the other ones, but that one is soaking for now. So you don't have to worry about that. It's fine. I'll get that in the morning.
It's been soaking since yesterday.
So it's just because I cooked something like really big last night, but don't worry, like I'm not gonna just like leave my dishes.
Hey.
Hey, do you have a vacuum? Yeah, sorry, I was gonna get that, but I was just gonna ask you guys if you had a vacuum.
You know we have a vacuum.
Oh, okay. Do you know where it, like, no, so I know we have one, but do you know where it is?
Come in.
Yeah?
Hey, you left your hair in the drain in the bathroom.
What? I double checked it like 7 times. That's not. No, I don't know. Sorry. Can you ask the other girls?
Dynasty, you're the only black person here.
Let me go see. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must have missed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So.
Like the water's not going down. The water's not going
Yeah.
down.
Okay. Let me go get Right. It's not a big deal though. It's not like this big deal. I'll just go get the drainer. It's fine. Okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
So the Sweet Mints and I have been talking, and we just want to let you know, like, you haven't been pulling your weight, and we just like would really wish if you would just start cleaning up after yourself.
Okay, well, I know that last week, right, there was like the hair situation, and I know there was like another time, right, where you saw the dish, and that's totally fine. Right, like I think that's fair. Like we can call each other out sometimes, like whatever, but it kind of seems that you guys are like pulling this all on me, like I'm never doing anything at all, and that's just not fair. Because under that logic, right, we can call out Alyssa for leaving her pillow in the living room, and we can call out Jamie for leaving her shoes by the door, right? I mean, I just think that the blame is kind of all on me.
We don't wear shoes in our house, so we do leave them by the door.
I did trip on them, and I feel like she could have made a better effort to leave them by the door. I'm not saying that like everybody is like, I don't want to make it look like I'm bringing everybody in just to like save myself. I'm just saying I feel like a lot of the blame is on me, and by that logic we could just kind of we can really like all work together.
Dynasty, you like just left this in the middle of the living room.
I thought somebody would want some pizza because I literally left some earlier, so I thought somebody would want some.
Oh, you thought somebody
but
would
I won't do that again. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be a good roommate because it seems like everybody's kind of like coming on me this week.
Yeah.
And I don't really need that.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell you my hottest take about living with roommates. Never, ever live with someone that you were friends with before y'all moved in together. I'm sorry, I don't care how much you love that person. I don't care if they're your bestest friend in the entire world. Just because y'all are good together as friends does not mean you will be good together as roommates. Being a good roommate requires establishing boundaries. The reality is a lot of you do not know how to establish boundaries in your friendships, let alone in a living situation. And living together really requires a lot of communication, boundary setting, etc., etc. Living with your best friend, living with your friend is the fastest way to lose them as a friend. I'm not just saying this because it's my opinion from thin air. This is something that I never learned the hard way, thankfully, but it's something that I saw time and time again at multiple different steps in my life. People that came in that were best friends, bestest friends, and then they left not talking to each other. And I'm not saying that there aren't any friends that I saw living together that stayed friends. That's not just because there's a rule doesn't mean there are never exceptions. But do you really want to find out if you were the rule or the exception? This is a tip for anyone moving out soon but living with a terrible roommate. Don't be the last one to move out, because they'll just leave random shit that they didn't want to deal with and then make it your problem. Not only that, instead of asking which stuff is theirs and yours, they'll either just take it or throw it away. And I think the best part is my roommate was the one who assigned who should clean what so we can get our security deposit back. And the stuff that she assigned herself is not even clean. So I have to clean it. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't get a roommate.
I have to tell you guys about my roommate because she is literally the fucking worst. Like, for one, she's always up super early, being really loud. Doesn't do her own laundry. I have to do all of her laundry, and then if she doesn't have any clean clothes, it's my fault. I have to make her all of her food, because if I don't, she's gonna starve, and that's my fault. She has no consideration for, like, what I'm actively trying to do. Like, if I'm trying to do the dishes, she has to come to the sink and get water. She's constantly wearing her shoes in the house. I vacuum, she puts her boots on and runs around. She never picks up after herself. Her stuff is always all over the house. I clean it up. I put her stuff back in her room. 10 minutes later, all of her stuff is back in the living room. She doesn't help with things like taking the trash out, but when I go take the trash out, she likes to mock me, be like, oh, taking the trash out. If I have to go pee, if I have to go to the bathroom, all of a sudden she also needs to be in the bathroom. She eats all of my food. I heated up these leftovers for lunch, had to give her some. What do you have to say for yourself?
After you graduate college, and if you are living alone, you go through a pretty dark phase of depression and isolation. How do you survive living alone? And there'll be a time when you'll think, oh, I miss that. I miss being surrounded by people. But then you'll remember a very important detail, which is that you could wake up and you could simply walk to your kitchen and scramble 2 eggs whenever you want. You no longer have to think about, oh my God, it's around 8. Becky usually gets back around 8. She goes straight to the kitchen to make her breakfast. Okay, Jamie's at the groceries. Jamie gonna walk in right now with a full load of groceries and I'm gonna be in the kitchen. Okay, Claire always likes to make something after she goes to the gym. She's at the gym right now. How long has she been at the gym? You don't realize the stress and anxiety that coordinating your kitchen time had on you until you could simply walk to your kitchen and scramble 2 eggs at any hour of the day with feeling nothing but peace.
It gets worse. One morning I came down and she had thrown bleach all over the laundry room, the walls, the floor, the stairs, some of my clothes, which were ruined, and then got mad at me, not even for accusing her, but for just asking, like, hey guys, why is there bleach all over the laundry room? Would leave her unfinished kombucha bottles upside down in our couch cushions so that the rest would run out into the couch. When asked not to do that anymore, she blamed it on our dog. Because she had ADHD, she said alarms didn't work for her and asked for help, and I also have ADHD, so I was like, sure, like, I can help. And then she told me that I needed to come into her room in 10-minute intervals in the morning. I was supposed to come in and open the blinds and gently wake her up and then leave again for 10 minutes and then come back and do that like 2 more times like a Disney princess. I'm like, I'm in full-time classes. I don't have time. Like, who's been doing this for you? She would leave food and trash wherever she ate, and I thought that she probably just didn't know that she was doing it until one day she saw me cleaning up her mess and she laughed and said that her last roommate told her that the little piles of crumbs that she left was the only way that they knew that she was still living there. Like it was a quirky little trait that her presence was marked by a trail of garbage. She would also follow me around while I was doing chores. It really worked up telling me these stories about like how somebody stole her boyfriend. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, was this your old roommate? It would have been something that happened in like 9th grade, which was over 12 years ago. And then she would tell stories about attacking people. Like, are you going to attack me?
Why does no one talk about the fact that living with roommates that you don't know that well is just so, like, embarrassing? Because I feel embarrassed for just existing. And it's nothing wrong with, like, anyone that I'm living with because everyone is truly so nice and so, like, considerate. But I just have anxiety and I do things, like, very particularly and I just don't want to be a burden. So, like, living with roommates is, like, a nightmare for me because I'm such a people pleaser. And I'm so scared of, like, coming off as, like, gross or, like, inconsiderate or, like, just doing something and, like, leaving a mess. Because I feel like when you live alone, you just don't have to, like, explain yourself. And I fully understand that, like, when you live with someone, like, there's gonna be things that they do that are annoying. But I do not want to do anything that's annoying at all. Especially if they're, like, not my family or, like, my very close friends. Like, if I do something that's, like, even slightly annoying and, like, they don't know, like, my personality or me as a person, all they're gonna know is, like, the little annoying things that I do. And that's all they're gonna know about me. And I hate that. For example, I dressed up as Carrie for Halloween, and me and my friend were in my bathroom and putting like the fake blood on me. I thought that I had cleaned it all up, but like I was a little bit tipsy and I was with a friend, so like I guess I just was not paying enough attention. I got like a drop of it on the floor. And then later that night, I got a text in our group chat that was like, hey, there's a little bit of blood on the bathroom floor. Can that please be cleaned up? I was like, oh my god, I really hope they don't think that's my period. And it gave me anxiety like the rest of the night, and it's like literally not even their fault. Like, it's fully my fault, but I can't stand the fact that they might have thought it was my period. Does that make sense? Like, I just don't want to like explain like every little thing that I do. And then there was a second time more recently where I like sliced myself on their food processor, like my finger, and then like I like tracked blood into the bathroom like when I was trying to clean it up, and then I didn't notice that there was like a little bit like on the corner, like where the wall meets the floor or whatever. Then there was another text about that, which is totally fair, but I was like, I really hope that they don't think that was my period too. I don't know, I'm just embarrassed all the time. And it's literally all me. Like, nothing wrong with anyone that I live with. It's just always my own thoughts.
You know, I talk a lot of shit for someone who's scared to leave her room because her roommate and her boyfriend are in the living room, and every time they see me, they look at me like I'm Colleen Ballinger. And the thing is, I am so hungry, but I am more scared of the weird tension that's in the air every time we're in the same room. And one time they even stopped me from doing my laundry because said boyfriend was on a meeting. Here's a bright idea. Why doesn't he take the meeting at his own house? And honestly, I'm just glad I have the master, because if I had to leave my room and share a bathroom with her, I probably would have died from a UTI by now.
I don't know why I even have to say this, but if you live with other people, do your dishes. If you have a roommate, do your dishes. Not because I care actually about the dishes getting done. It's because your roommate doesn't stop talking about how you don't do the dishes. And then everyone suffers because now I have to listen to a story where the primary action is that nothing happened. I'm bored. Oh, you're not gonna believe this. My roommate today did nothing. Oh, my space. My space. And then I have to be like, oh, did you talk to them? And they're like, yeah, I sent a passive-aggressive text to my group chat with 8 other people. Why does nothing get done in my house? So you have to do the dishes. Because there's 2 victims when you don't. Your dumb roommate and me. Because I have to listen to this person complain. And I'm tired of it. So everyone do their dishes. And if you have a roommate that doesn't do their dishes and you're like, maybe I should tell people, you should take it to your grave. Or move in months if you can find an affordable place. Maybe that's harder. Don't move. But
okay, serious question. How old is too old to still have a roommate? I'm 28 years old and I still have a
I'm convinced that like in this economy, the only way that you are not having a roommate is if you come from generational wealth, or you're just fortunate enough to be making bank. Like bank. I'm not talking about like 100K, because in this economy, 100K is the new 50K. I know people out here who are making decent money, what you would think, and they still obviously need a roommate. So to answer this question, I feel like in our state right now and people our age, we're going to be seeing a lot of it. It's going to be very, very normalized, and no more of like, if you have roommates, you're a loser or a bum or it's embarrassing. No, because it's becoming the only way to survive. You're either having roommates or living back with your parents. The 1% are the ones that are able to financially be independent, living on their own.
Part 2 of my roommate thinks I'm the dirty one. I just cleaned up the kitchen, did the dishes, everything that was a mess up here was her mess, that's her mess. Took me a few minutes to vacuum, that's all her clutter that I moved. Vacuum, I said, all of this is mine and the cat litter box is mine. But I cleaned, I vacuumed, picked up all her crap. This is all her crap. I organized, this is all her crap. I folded and put away, and look, but I'm the dirty one, right? And it took me all a few minutes to clean, which she can never do. She can never, ever do. Can never vacuum, can never clean up. Bunch of crap. Looks a lot better thanks to me. I cleaned it. You can all see that. Clean. Thanks to me.
What happened?
So I went to use the bathroom and I saw that there was a stain on the toilet. So my initial thought was to clean it. Anyway, I go to use the brush and there's a
Oh my god!
What is that? There's a whole poo in the brush, so I'm not cleaning it, I'm making it worse.
Why is there a whole shit on it? No!
This is one of the worst situations you can get into as an adult. And this is the situation. My roommates are horrible. I want to move out, but I signed the lease for next year already. Unfortunately, this happens way more common than you think. If you have a good solution, comment below.
Has anyone ever actually had a good roommate? I have literally only had one. My last roommate situation was my last one for a reason. I was living with two men, and it literally felt like I was their mother. I don't think either one of them ever cleaned the bathroom, and if they did, they would literally just like wipe down the sink. One thing that was crazy to me is that they were up every night until like 2 in the morning blasting music. When I tell you it was every night. We had a dishwasher, and if you live in Chicago, you know that's a luxury. So why would the dishwasher be fully empty, but there's a sink full of dishes? Can't we just put it in there real quick? Like when I tell you I felt like their mother. One time I tried to talk to them about it. I was like, hey queen, when y'all pour out like pasta sauce in the sink, do you think we could maybe like wash out the sink after that? And one of them yelled at me about how I wanted them to clean things that were already clean. In college, I lived with some of my best friends. And like 3 days in, one of them just like kind of stopped talking to me. That kind of turned into never being invited anywhere with them. So like I would be home and they would all leave together, get Starbucks, and then come back and just not say a word to me. And I talked to them multiple times about this, and I was like, are we good? Like, is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, what do you mean? Like, we're good. And this got to the point where none of them talked to me except for like one. Mind you, I'm literally asking what I did and no one's fucking telling me. And then when it got to the point where I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore, I need to move out. That is when I was told that one thing that I said at the beginning of the year made them upset, and they thought I was gonna come talk to them about it. Which, like, how would I talk to you about something that I didn't know made you upset? And also, haven't I been literally asking y'all like what the fuck I did for the past like 3 months? Both of these roommate situations, obviously they weren't the worst that they could get, but like they both ruined all of my friendships with everybody I lived with. The only good roommate I feel like I've ever had was my freshman year of college. I love you, Molly. You're the chillest bitch in the world. You know this. I swear to God, living alone is the best thing I could have done for myself. It is so fucking peaceful here, bitch. Like, let me tell you. Honestly, I feel like I didn't have it as bad as other people have. I don't know. Living with roommates is just like a fucking nightmare. Like, I'll never do it again. If you have great roommates, I love that for you. If you don't, I want to know the tea. I want to know the tea. And if you're one of my old roommates, honestly, I hope you're doing well. I just don't think we were meant to live together.
I didn't even touch on this in the last video, but yes, absolutely. This is another reason why I refuse to live with roommates. I lived with roommates a lot in my early 20s, and almost every single one of those experiences was absolutely horrible. I've had maybe 3 roommates in my whole life that were decent roommates. One of them follows me here. Hi, Sasha. You were one of the good ones. But everyone else, they were not good roommates. And I had roommates that would steal from me all the time. I would buy food and then it would be gone. I had to start keeping my food in my room, which didn't have a lock on it. And then my roommate figured that out and would literally break into my bedroom to steal my food. She would go into my bedroom to use my TV, to use my things when I was at work. Like, and you can't control that. I mean, yeah, if you get a lock on your door, but like I lived in a place where we weren't allowed to do that. And then people say, oh, well, you need to move in with somebody that you trust. Okay, where am I going to find someone that I trust? I'm 34 years old. Every single person that I know in my personal life is married. They don't want roommates. They're living with their spouse. I don't know anybody who is single and looking for roommates. My only option would be to like post a Craigslist ad, like roommate wanted. You never really know what you're getting yourself into when you go that route, and I never want to be in a situation where I end up living with somebody who is not safe. Especially like as a queer woman myself, like you don't really know who's going to be safe and what kind of people they're going to bring around. You also don't know if they're going to pay their rent. Like, I know that I will never be late for rent. I will never miss my rent. Making sure I make rent is my like biggest financial priority. But not everybody has that priority. Like, what am I going to do if I'm splitting a place and they don't pay their rent? And if it's like a 2-bedroom, we're probably each paying like at least $1,200. I don't have $1,200 to cover their rent. We're going to get evicted. Like, I will never put myself in that situation. And yet that is what we're told is the solution to the housing crisis, is to get roommates. No. I'm so tired of roommates being suggested as like the solution to the housing crisis. It's not a solution.